Hey.
Hello, how you doing?
All right.
Find anything good in there?
Oh my God, yes. Oh, I wish I were a millionaire. So then I could just buy books. I have a bunch at home that I haven't even read, so couldn't resist. I had to bring at least one prop so I can tell time.
What is that?
Breast model.
Okay.
I walk around at work with it on my wrist. That's so I can teach hand expression.
Oh, you're
some
gonna have to teach me
latch on.
hand expression. I don't know anything about that.
So, am I supposed to be? I'm not supposed to be talking yet, am I?
It all gets edited out. You don't have to.
My husband was really curious about that. How does he do that? How does he film it?
All right, jumping right in. You're an IBCLC. What is that for those that don't know?
It is internationally board certified lactation consultant. I have credentialing through International Board of Lactation Certifiers. That means that I have had quite a number of women contact hours working in lactation. I've also had a lot of continuing education.
Is that what separates a regular lactation consultant from an IBCLC?
Nobody is supposed to use the term lactation consultant unless they are an IBCLC.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it can be lactation educators. They can be Minnie Mouse loves lactation, but they can't call themselves a lactation consultant.
That's just the term I've always heard.
Probably most of the people you've interacted with have been board certified.
Yeah.
You know, in a hospital.
It's just because, we work at the same hospital, right? How often do I see you?
Never.
Exactly. So I never go up to that floor.
It's its own little world.
I did go up there. My sister had her child there, and so I was up there for a little while. What point did you start working as an IBCLC, and what did you do before that?
I had been long-term La Leche League leader.
Long-term what?
Long-term La Leche League leader. I've got a little Spanish flair there. So they are sort of the oldest kids on the block. They've been around since the 50s, and they really kind of resurrected breastfeeding, trying to make it culturally normative. So I got involved in that, first as a member when I had my second child, and then as a leader a couple of years after that. Then I actually worked at another organization teaching breastfeeding classes, and then I got hired.
I know are really reliable, and getting to know a lot of people in the community, it just happened naturally. I found that everyone was confident in everything that La Leche puts out.
Oh, good. That's so nice to hear.
Yeah, everyone seemed to say, go there. That's where you'll find all your good information. It's like they live and breathe it. So.
Yep, all day, every day. But I used to take my son when he was a little bitty to the Leche League meetings. And so I would take him, and he's this little tiny boy, and I'm throwing out questions to the group members, and he would be answering them. And I'm like, baby, you gotta, zip it, sweetheart.
Yeah, zip it. And how old is he now?
24.
24. And is he doing anything in healthcare?
Nope.
Not a lactation consultant.
No. There are some men who are lactation consultants, who are board certified in lactation. It's predominantly female.
Yeah. Why are IBCLCs needed?
That's a very good question. Because we live and breathe lactation.
Okay.
But pediatricians are great, but they're focusing on the baby. OBGYNs are family practitioners, but we're the only ones, we have a word for it. We call it the breastfeeding dyad. We look at mom and baby as a unit.
Yeah.
One does not exist without the other.
When does the lactation consultant come into play? Before you're having a kid? Do you start working with them then, or is it more like kind of antepartum or postpartum, or?
Some women who have had problems with breastfeeding with their first child, their second child, they're like, oh man, I gotta get on top of this. Sometimes then they will develop a relationship with lactation consultants to sort of troubleshoot all the things that might have happened before. And that's really terrific. I wish more women did that. People who are giving birth get so caught up in, oh my God, the baby, how to give birth to the baby, that they kind of forget 5 minutes after that baby is out. Now you gotta change gears fast, start thinking about how to feed the baby. And I sometimes think that gets a little lost in the shuffle.
That's right off the bat, right? The baby crawling out, it's doing a little floor routine on the way up to the breast, right? How often would you say that happened versus not happening?
That the baby just almost automatically knows what it's doing? Oh my God, I wish it happened more.
In a perfect world.
But you know what? Particularly in a hospital setting, we've got moms, they've got underlying medical conditions, they've got language barriers, cultural issues, a lot of stuff going on. Sometimes the moms come through it like gangbusters, and it's the baby who's a little gorked out. It's like, man, that delivery, whew! You kind of have to figure out how to get them both ready to play the game. Before I started working in a hospital, I had a much more romanticized idea of how it could all happen, how it could all play out. In a huge attempt to normalize breastfeeding, I think we've swung a little too far to the, it's so natural, it's so easy, it's gonna just happen. And it doesn't.
It's something you gotta kind of work for. If it's not happening, there's a lot of women that are really persistent and trying or doing all the right things, that listen to what you say.
Nobody gets to Carnegie Hall by not practicing though.
Yes.
3 Ps: practice, patience, perseverance.
Good application to a lot of things.
Yes, indeed. When we were little kids and we tried to learn how to ride a bicycle and we fell off and we skinned our knees, cried and went home. We still got back on that darn bicycle. Or swimming. But it's so fun and there's so much potential. I think we lose in adulthood some of that, like how to start from scratch with something. And so I think it becomes really daunting because it's been a long time since we've had to start from scratch with anything. And then you've got the baby who's bringing something to the party too. What I love the best is a mom who's like totally freaked out and the baby's like, hey, I got this, and just basically launches on, you know. And I think, oh, thank God, sweetheart, I know what you're doing because mom is very anxious.
So at that point, do you take off or do you still stay kind of involved with the whole process of lactation? If you're like, okay, obviously the baby knows what it's doing.
The baby has it down, but you have to make sure the mom recognizes that the baby has it down. That she's not completely freaked out about, I can't tell the baby's getting anything. I can't tell if the baby's full. How do I know I'm making anything? I don't see it. I don't feel it. And that's my job to say, look at how content the baby is. Look how good the baby's latched on. How does it feel? Does it feel like X, Y, and Z? That's great. That's just how it should be feeling. You're not supposed to have a gallon of milk. You know, when you're drinking a glass of water, does it run down your face? It all goes into your mouth and you swallow it. There is no external view of gallons of milk.
Go through Starbucks real quick, sorry.
That's when I'm there educating the mom how to know it's going well. This is okay. This is what the baby should be doing. The baby should be wanting to be at the breast for just an insane amount of time. The baby is programming your body. It's like your body's the factory. The baby is saying, here's my order, please fulfill it. And without lots of time at the breast and lots of stimulation, the milk is not going to come in as robustly or stay as robust long term. It is very important that the baby spend oodles of amount of time at that breast.
Okay. Yeah, can I get a grande Americano?
I want a skinny vanilla latte decaf, please.
Skinny vanilla latte and grande. Is that everything for you?
That's one of the things that I've seen in my inbox. And let me tell you, since the breastfeeding video, since the self-exam video, it's just riddled with the word breasts all over it. I mean, it's insane. There's no filters. The governors are gone. What they tell me about their personal information about breastfeeding and whatnot knows no bounds. And so
people are desperate for information.
It tells me that it can be very frustrating. One of the complaints that I heard a lot is I don't know if my baby's getting enough milk.
Universal concern. My God, we have a primal need to want to feed our babies. Whether you're breastfeeding them or whether you're feeding them sweet potatoes later on, there is a primal pleasure in seeing your baby eat. And you know, women don't know. In the first like 3 or 4 days before the milk really comes in, the milk volume really picks up is what I like to say. They don't know. They're so afraid. And every time the baby cries, they think, oh my God, the baby's starving. And the baby's not starving. The baby has a strong biological drive to be at the breast that is really separate from how hungry or how satisfied it is.
So you said you use the term gets the volume up. Why do you use that term?
Because colostrum is there waiting for the baby to be born. A lot of women find that they're leaking weeks before the baby is born.
Yes.
And should we educate this young man? Is there a woman in your life who'll be giving birth soon? Oh my God, they don't have the Christmas cups anymore. But there was something about those Christmas cups. They were like hypnotic. I'm like, I want to go every day and I want to see which beautiful cup they give me.
Okay, so voluming up. Okay, so and that usually happens. You said 3 to 4 days.
It could be a little bit more than that before it really transitions into something that is recognizable as milk. I swear to God, I had a woman say, I was like, you've got colostrum. Why are you so concerned? And I showed her. I did a little hand expression. Colostrum came out because it was there, and she's like, oh my God, I thought that was water. And I thought, oh my God, I love you. Can I come home with you and just help you because you just need so much information? And I thought, when was the last time you ever heard of water coming out of a breast? So even when they see it, they can't believe it.
Yeah. As far as other cultures go, something that I heard on a podcast was that in a lot of other cultures, if mom's sick or it's too fatigued, they'll oftentimes pass the baby off to someone else, like a sister, something like that. Does that ever practice in the U.S.?
Nobody's going to talk a whole lot about it.
Yeah?
But yes. Yeah, that happens. Well, there's a lot going on that people are not going to raise their hand and say, hey, look at me, let me tell you all this stuff that I'm doing that is a little counter to what the conventional thought is.
Exactly, yeah. Shedding light on those types of things I'm all about that. I like that.
And it's really important. You know, this is somebody you got to trust their history, you got to trust their medical status, you got to trust them with your life. Because there is some stuff that, can get transmitted through breast milk that you do not want transmitted.
Don't just pass it off to someone at the mall.
Somebody on the street. point, you know?
Do you think the baby has any idea? Are they like, this ain't my breast?
I had a mom who was so sad. She was just having a terrible time getting her baby to latch. But her sister-in-law took the baby and like slapped that baby right on. So it made the mom feel really inferior. How come I can't? Why won't the baby nurse on me? And I thought, because your sister-in-law, you know, she's had 3 children. She's done this 3 times. She knows how to hold the baby without even thinking about it.
That's what I was gonna say. I saw a lot of the threads and a lot of women asking questions, and then feedback that other women would give. It was all about positioning. They were like, just try a different position. One more time, keep trying. You'll get it, and if eventually you don't, then go another route if you need to.
Let's take the healthiest route we can.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
You know, when you have a woman, particularly a young woman, who has an unplanned pregnancy, if they can meet their breastfeeding goals, their self-efficacy in other aspects of their life skyrocket. Finishing their education, career aspirations, it can give them such a sense of accomplishment.
It's a huge accomplishment.
Yes. For women who are sexual abuse survivors, some women are like, nobody's coming near me. And yet, it can be very healing. And I've heard many stories and worked with a number of women who I found out after the fact. They just grit their teeth and just did it anyway. They found it so healing.
I think that's great information for lots of people,
You know,
out there, because that's not an uncommon issue.
When 1 in 3 or 4 women have had some sort of body violation.
Exactly. Bethany in Dallas, Texas.
Oh.
Any name I mentioned, they all said that they were comfortable
That's
with me.
fine.
To summarize, is basically, how do you prepare for when your pediatrician that you may, know very well gives you bad breastfeeding advice? How do you stop them from giving you bad breastfeeding advice? What do you do in that situation? Is that when you call them the IBCLC?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or you call the Leche League. Or you say in your gut, man, that just doesn't sound right. Healthcare providers are humans too.
Yeah.
They many times are parents too. You have to listen with a finely tuned ear between what is a lifestyle choice, what is a medically sound choice.
Yeah, where are they speaking from?
Well, when I was in medical school and I had to study and I was exhausted and I had to get some sleep at night, baby got moved down the hall into a room, boom, and it was sleeping through the night in days. That goes against basic infant biology. It is a lifestyle choice. Most of us are not asking our pediatricians where we should go on vacation. What are your opinions on veganism versus whatever? We're there because there's a medical issue that needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
I think it's important for women to say to themselves, so what you're saying, is this really a medical concern or is this more of a lifestyle concern? At the end of the day, every person has got to decide how they want to parent their child. Even if your pediatrician is saying, I really think you should be doing X, Y, and Z, you get the veto power. You get to say, okay, thank you very much. I will take that under advisement, and then I'll go home and do exactly what I want.
I just had an experience with my dad. He was given a medication that he shouldn't have been on. This is something that was overlooked very, very poorly. I don't know if you're familiar with certain antibiotics, but some of them have black box warnings on them about tendon ruptures. So my dad's an avid runner, right? And so he gets prescribed one of them with the black box warning. And he wasn't planning on going on running because he's sick. He said, I want to do this resolution run with my son next week. Do you think I can? And then he said, oh yeah, sure, go. He asked the doctor who prescribed him this. He said, is that fine? And the doctor said, yeah, absolutely, go for it if you're feeling up for it. And I'm reading on the warning label, it says, limit your physical exercise as much as you can. My dad runs hard, you know what I mean? If he were to rupture his tendons, which I have had patients in the ER, both Achilles tendons and a ton of rehabilitation, and that would just ruin them. You got to advocate for yourself. You could be polite about it. You can say, thank you, I've gotten what I needed, and then, go and do your own research.
Pediatricians, I love them. They are excellent dealing with pathology and dealing with restoring illness to good health. And however, here they get this much training about breastfeeding, and that's a healthy status typically.
No, you have a cardiologist isn't going to know all sorts of things about gastroenterology or anything like that. That's how I kind of think about it. Same with mental health. You've got all these providers that deal with a lot of mental health. I feel like there's not adequate training for nurses, for doctors, and so that's why there's psychiatry. But I'm really trying to kind of put stuff out there so years and years down the line pass, and then people say, shit, I've been doing something wrong for all these years, and now I'm stroking out at 30 or whatever it is. There's just a lot of information, and a lot of times it's not people's fault. They just don't have the right education.
Oh my word.
And so,
my daughter's like, Mom, I don't know what's going to happen when I have a baby. I feel so much pressure to make this work because you're an IBCLC. First of all, I tell her, you will be successful. I'll be on the first plane, moving in with you, doing everything so you don't have to lift a finger except spend time with that baby. And I said, your friends who haven't had the success they wanted, we live in a world where, does everybody eat 5 fruits and vegetables every day? Do we all exercise 45 minutes? Do we all get our heart rates up 4 times a week to 20% the maximum? No. There's a lot of imperfection in health in general.
Yeah.
And it makes me sad because so many women feel so disappointed when it doesn't go the way they want it to. We don't have cultural messages. We don't have cultural support. You know, one father asked me one time, he goes, if formula is like really not as good as breast milk or human milk, why is it everywhere?
So that's another question I wanted to ask you is there's this idea out there that lactation consultants are against formula.
Yeah. And is that true?
If there's no other option, you got to use formula.
Yes.
Yes.
For sure. I think of formula like any other medical intervention that is necessary.
Yes.
If you need antibiotics, you take them. You take your Z-Pack for 3 days, take it the rest of your life. Maybe you do need, maybe your kidneys have failed and you need dialysis for the rest of your life. Formula has its place. It absolutely has its place. It has definitely saved babies. However, people are under impression that, you know, breast milk, human milk, you know, it's all about the same. My friends, me, you, whoever, you know, we all had formula and we're okay.
I hear that a lot.
You know, my friends' kids are healthy, and I ask them, how do you know? How do you know?
One of the things that happened when I was in nursing school, I was holding on to this fresh newborn, and this girl was like 17 or something like that, but she had Snapchatting to do, and so I'm sitting there and I'm holding on to this beautiful little black baby, and I'm looking at it, and I'm just like, have a good time. The doctor comes storming in, and he's like, I hear you're not breastfeeding. These are the reasons why you need to breastfeed. Takes it on the whiteboard, he starts writing down that your baby will be better at math, it will have better vision, it will have all this other, like, lays it out on this whiteboard, and then he walks out. And I was like, probably not the best approach. He was pretty adamant about the fact that he wanted her to breastfeed.
You gotta try.
And I think he noticed the attitude that she had with the Snapchat and all that. He wanted to be kind of really, really kind of blunt with her.
Let's just cut the chase.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's sort of on their phone and the baby's in the crib, you know. And I'm like, you have a little new baby
Yeah,
human. Come to your life.
That blows my mind.
I have to remind myself, body autonomy, you know?
Explain.
A parent, a woman, you know, whomever's breasts, right? Yeah. They do get to decide what to do with them.
Absolutely,
You know? I gotta balance that with, but please do it for your baby, because it will make a huge difference. I don't know, there's so many funny messages in the world, you know? Well, I had a grandfather who smoked, you know, 4 packs of cigarettes since he was 13 years old, and he lived to be 98 years old, you know?
Yeah, I was down at the gym, and I'm looking up at the TV screen, and I see this news bit on this guy, and he's like, he lived to be 104 or something like that, and he attributes it to drinking Coors Light his whole life. Come on now.
No.
Because I can attribute drinking Coors Light every day to liver failure,
A lot of
to
other
withdrawal,
things.
early deaths, all sorts of terrible things.
Cardiovascular issues.
Exactly. You can't take that one
Yes.
particular thing. Obviously, the media is going to hype that up.
You all turned out okay. Yeah, okay, maybe we'll never make it to Harvard. Maybe we'll never be president of the United States, but we're okay. I look at those babies sometimes with maybe very distracted people. The minute they get out the door are going to be switching to a formula very fast. And I look at those babies and I say, you know, maybe you're going to be the one who cures cancer. Maybe you're going to be the one who does whatever, you know? I'm always like, every effort I put out here to educate, that could be the one word that flips, you know, that flips their attitude and makes them go a little longer.
Is there like a classic line you feel like that you've used that has worked better than others? One piece of advice that you really think makes the change where women say,
Okay, I will try.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Somebody wrote me a note one time. I wish I knew the magic words.
Yeah,
But she wrote me a note one time and she goes, you know, you were right. You said, just try one more time. And she kept telling herself, all right, just one more time. And finally, boom, the clouds parted and it felt like it started to work.
Wow.
You know, and I thought, all right, good. Did I really say that? What I don't like about formula is, one, that it is everywhere. That, two, it is promoted very much like, it's great. We put all the good things in it that your breast milk has, and and they push hard. And it's not the formula per se, it is the formula manufacturers promoting a product like anything else.
Yeah.
And that makes me sad because it does kind of go counter to what is going to really help somebody be successful. But calling it natural is also, I think, misleading because it does take effort, it does take time, it does take perseverance and practice. And to call it natural makes it sound like if I just sort of, you know, wave the baby in the general vicinity, it's all going to be fine. Or if I breastfeed when I kind of feel like it. And that's not the case either.
So that's another thing I learned doing these breastfeeding videos and terminology and kind of what some mothers may not like. For instance, extended breastfeeding. They don't like to use that term anymore. They like to call it natural term breastfeeding. Because extended makes it sound like it's going beyond what it's supposed to be.
Beyond normal.
Beyond normal, exactly. On that topic, what is normal?
Well, there's the medical perspective that we want babies to get nothing but human milk exclusively, if possible, for 6 months, and then continue to breastfeed as solids are introduced through the first year and beyond, as long as it's mutually satisfying to mom and baby. You know, there was a really awesome anthropologist who did a lot of study on the development of the immune system and large primates with whom we share about 95% of our genetic material.
Yeah.
You know, people have always tried to figure out, well, what's normal? What should be normal for breastfeeding? And when you think of it from a health standpoint, this anthropologist was like, kids' immune systems are really not very mature until they're like 4 or 5, 6 years old.
Yeah.
There are very few places in the world where people are going to say, breastfeed that child until they're 6 years old, you know? If somebody gets through that first year, I am like, hallelujah.
Yeah.
Our national breastfeeding rates just plummet after about 6 weeks. That's it was good the baby got as much as it did, but it could benefit a whole heck of a lot more. You know?
Why do you think that drop off occurs? Is it just because it's the toll it takes on the mom?
Some of the expectations are unrealistic.
Yeah.
Second of all, parents are headed back to work fast and furiously. You know, we have the worst maternal leave policy of any developed nation. We do not, as a nation, value the mother-baby relationship in the early months the way medically it should be. You know, you look at Scandinavian countries, their healthcare really recognizes that. As a result, their breastfeeding rates are so much higher. Their health costs are so much lower. We just have a very short-sighted perspective on it here. Moms are trying. You know, they're working against a culture that is not working to support them.